What's up, my pre-calc people? In this video, we're going to be going over the second free response question from the 2026 AP Precalculus Exam. Now, this was a modeling question where you were looking at the value of a car that was depreciating over time using an exponential decay function. All right, let's dive into the question so we can see all the different parts and exactly what you needed to have to get full credit. So FRQ number 2 dealt with a person who purchased a car at the end of the year 2019, which is t equals 0. Like most cars, the car's value decreases over time. At the end of the year 2020, which was year 1, the car was valued at $27.2 thousand. At the end of the year 2025, which is t equals 6, the car was valued at $14.8 thousand. The value of the car can be modeled by the function v, which is an exponential function a times b raised to t, where v is the value of the car in thousands of dollars at time t, and t is the number of years since the end of 2019. All right, so we had 3 different parts here, A, B, and C, that we had to worry about. Let's tackle part A first. So A, part 1 says use the given data to write 2 equations that can be used to find the values for constants A and B in the expression for V of t. So all we have to do here is start with our 2 data points. The first one was 1, 27.2. Remember, that was in thousands. And then the second one was 6 was the year, or excuse me, at time 6, it was $14.8 thousand. All right, all we have to do is plug in those values into our exponential formula. So we're going to take the 1, plug it in for the time, and get the output of $27.2 thousand. Then we're going to do the exact same thing with the 6 and the output of 14.8. That's it. That's all you have to do for single I of part A. Don't do anything more or anything less. All right, now for double I, we have to actually find the values for A and B as decimal approximations. Now, the best way to do this is to use your calculator, Desmos, Numworks, or UTI-84. Use the regression apps and go ahead and get the answers. So I'm just going to jump to what the answers were. I used Desmos and I got A equals 30.721 and B equals 0.885. And I didn't have to do any work. No work. Let me repeat that. No work needs to be shown here. All you have to have is those 2 values. Now, I do want to show you what I did on Desmos. So I hit that little plus sign at the top there. Everybody should love that plus sign. And I hit create a table. I typed in the 1 and the 27.2, my first data point, the 6 and the 14.8, my second data point. And then I clicked on these little dots. And they're not there because I clicked on them, but right here are a couple dots. Don't click on these dots, not these dots. Right here are some dots. Then I'm going to go ahead and get the model, and it's going to instantly go to a linear regression, but you want to click down that drop box and select exponential model because that's what we're using here. And there's my A value, 30.721, and my B value, 0.885. And that's it. That's how unbelievably easy it is. However, I kind of think I should be a good teacher and show you how to do the work by hand. I'm still going to need the calculator to help me get these decimals. But I think it's a valuable lesson for you to see how to do this by hand because you never know. It could come up on a multiple choice question where you got to show it by hand. So I'm going to go and run through it real quick, even though you do not need to show your work by hand. So here's what you need to do to show your work by hand. First, we start off with our 2 equations that we built back in single I. Now, I'm going to solve this first equation for A simply by dividing the B to the first over it. So I get 27.2 divided by B to the first equals A. Then I'm going to take that A value and substitute it into the second equation for A. So that A is going to turn into 27.2 divided by B to the first. And then I'm going to do some solving. Now, let me walk you through my solving real quick. Hopefully it's not too bad. First, these B's are going to reduce. 6 minus 1 is 5, so we get B to the 5th. Then I'm going to divide this 27.2 over. The opposite of this multiplication right here is division, so I'm going to divide it over. Then I'm going to use a 5th root or a 1/5 power. They both serve the same purpose. So I'm going to raise both sides to the 1/5, and obviously B to the 5th raised to the 1/5 is just B to the first, or B. And this is where I definitely needed my calculator. I mean, I wasn't doing this in my head, but I got 14.8 divided by 27.2 raised to the 1/5 is 0.885, the same value that the calculator got us. Then I have to find A by taking that value and substituting it back over here for the B. So I turned this B right here into 0.885. Again, I had to use my calculator. I wasn't going to be able to do that in my head. 27.2 divided by 0.885. Now, I actually used all the decimals, not just the 3 I rounded to, and I got 30.721, which was the same A value that Desmos gave us. So at the end of the day, you do not have to show any work. All you have to have is the proper A and B values. All right, now for part double I. Actually, I wrote single I up. Oh, no, never mind. This is correct. We're going to be moving on to part B. That was part A. All right, so part B, single I, says use the given data to find the average rate of change of the value of the car in thousands of dollars per year from t equals 1 to t equals 6 years. We must express our answer as a decimal, and we have to show our work to lead to our answer. So here's exactly what I did here. Pretty straightforward, not a whole lot of work to find the average rate. So here is my R, my average rate, and I'm just going to do the outputs. So I'm going to take the 14.8 minus 27.2, and then 6 minus 1 on the bottom. Make sure that whatever point goes here is the same, right? So I started with 6, and in year 6, it was 14.8. So make sure those match up. And the same thing, year 1 was 27.2. You could reverse those, but just make sure you reverse both of them. And also, don't forget, outputs go in the numerator, inputs go in the denominator when talking about average rate of change, which is a fancy way of saying slope. So on top, I get negative 12.4 divided by 5. And again, you must make that a decimal, negative 2.48. Now, to get full credit, all you have to have is the work shown and negative 2.48. You actually do not even have to have any units on that value. But I think it's important that you understand what the units on that value are. So from year 1 to year 6, on average, the value of the vehicle decreased by 2.48 thousands of dollars per year. So each year from 1 to 6, on average, we lost $2.48 thousand of value for the car. All right, now for part B, double I. We have to use that average rate of change found in part single I to estimate the value of the car in thousands of dollars at t equals 3 years. Show the work that leads to your answer. Now, what a lot of kids do wrong is they actually use the model that they found back in part A. They plug in 3 to get the estimate. No. This clearly says to use the average rate of change. So I actually think drawing a picture makes a lot of sense to help me process and hopefully help you process this. All right, so first I drew a picture of the exponential decay function in red. That is our v of t. And then I drew the secant line that's connecting the 2 points, 1, 27.2 and 6, 14.8. And if I want to use that blue secant line to make a prediction for year 3, which is maybe right around here somewhere, I'm going to need to find the equation of that secant line. So how do you find the equation of a line? Boy, I love point slope form, and you should too. All you need for point slope form is the slope or the rate of change that we just found in the previous part, and you need 1 point. It doesn't matter. You just need an individual point, the x and the y value of that individual point, and I'm going to use the first point. You could also use the second point. Doesn't matter, but I'm going to use the first point. So here I go. Y minus that y coordinate was 27.2 equals negative 2.48 times x minus that x coordinate from that point of 1, 27.2. Then the only other thing I'm going to do is add that 27.2 over to their side. I'm not even going to waste my time distributing the negative 2.48 because I now have my equation for that blue secant line. And now I want to use that equation, and all I have to do to use it is, well, plug in 3, because that's, of course, what they asked me to do. So if I plug in 3, try to estimate what happens in year 3, I get 22.24. Definitely need my calculator to do that, but you must show the work that leads to that answer, and this is the exact work that you're going to want to show. So what does this mean? The average rate of change line estimates the value of the car to be $22.24 thousand at t equals 3 years. Hopefully that makes a lot of sense, and it's not too bad. But again, it all starts with understanding that I need to use the average rate of change line, which means I got to find the equation of that secant line. All right, now for part B, triple I, which a lot of kids struggle with, but hopefully I'm going to make it really, really easy. The average rate of change found in part B, I, can be used to determine the secant line for the graph of V on the interval 1 to 6, which is actually what I already showed you in that picture. And A of t represents the estimate of the value of the car in thousands of dollars at time t equals years using that secant line. Again, what I just showed you in that graph. And we just noticed that for A of 3, the value that we just predicted, that we just found in part B double I, it could be shown that A of 3 is greater than V of 3. Now, what that means, this is where a lot of kids get confused, they're saying that using the average rate of change, the secant line, to predict 3 is going to give us a greater estimate than using the model V of 3. And then what we actually notice is, in general, any value using the average rate of change line is greater than the model for any value in that interval 1 to 6. And they want me to explain why. They want me to explain why that is. So they want me to use the secant line and the graph of V to explain why that's true. So here is my picture. Picture's worth 1,000 words. You can even graph it in Desmos if you want to. Literally, you already have the model drawn if you use Desmos to find A and B for the model. And then you could just type in the equation of the secant line that we just found in part I, and that's the blue line. But here's what I noticed, right? Here is the first intersection point, and here's the second. For any value in between 1 and 6, notice how the model, let me grab a different color here. Notice how the secant line, the average rate of change line, estimates from the secant line are all above the red model, which is the exponential model, right? But for values outside, less than 1 or greater than 6, now my secant line is below the model. But they didn't ask you about that. They asked you about in between. So in between the values with the average rate of change, or the secant line, right, they're greater than. Now, why is this? Because the model is concave up. That's why. That red exponential decay model is concave up. And when you cross a concave up graph with a secant line in between the two intersection points, the secant line is going to be greater than the model, but opposite on the outside. So here's the final answer that I wrote up really nicely. Obviously, your final answer doesn't have to have exactly this, but you need to mention that the model is concave up. So I said, hey, the estimates of A of t is the y coordinate of a point on the secant line that passes through 1, 27.2 and 6, 14.8 of the model. Because the graph of, well, it should say V there, sorry about that, a little bit of a typo. Because the graph of V is concave up on the interval 1 to 6, this secant line is above the graph of V on the interval. Therefore, the estimates of A of t is greater than the value of V of t. Sorry about those typos. So again, did you have to have word for word exactly that? Not exactly, but you needed to, in your answer, say that the model is concave up, and because the model V of t is concave up, when we cross it with that secant line, values in between 1 and 6 are going to be greater using the average rate of change line. All right, hopefully that made sense. A lot of kids don't write that very nicely. They either don't understand it or they have a hard time understanding it and they get that one wrong, but hopefully you got that one right. All right, now moving on to part C. When the value of the car reaches $2,000, the car's owner plans to donate it to an auto mechanic school. As a result, the car will immediately lose all of its value. So explain how this information can be used to determine a domain limitation for the Model V. So essentially, we know that when our model that we found, 30.721 times 0.885 raised to t equals $2,000, we know that basically the value of the car is done, right? Our model is no longer needed because he's going to donate the car and who cares about the value anymore. So what we need to figure out is, when does this happen? At what t value, because that's our domain, right? That's our input. At what t value does this occur? Because that's when, well, the model's going to end. So all I did was went straight to Desmos. I went ahead and I already did all the work to find A and B, so the model was already created. All I did was created a new line, y equals 2, so I could find the intersection point for when the model hits $2,000. And I got 22.444 years. So here is my answer. He will donate the car after approximately 23 years. Hence, the domain of the Model V can be limited to 0 to 22.444. Notice I use brackets there because he will have a value at 0. That's actually when he first purchased it. And then I will no longer need the model after 22.444 years, because after that, it's worth $2,000 and he's going to donate it and it's all longer, no value whatsoever. So you needed to be able to find that intersection point and get the value of 22.444. If you don't have in your answer 22.444, you're probably not going to get full credit. All right, that's it for FRQ number 2. Hopefully you guys did a really good job on it.